A Journey Through Gender, an autoethnography by Tam Ngo. Puberty. I remember hating going through puberty. I wanted to stay a little girl, but my body was literally forcing me into becoming something else. Someone else. I hated being forced to accept that I had to wear bras now. I hated being forced to buy pads in stores. I remember my face burning when I asked my mom to buy me bras. I remember trying not to wear them as long as possible, but eventually my best friend pointed it out to me. And something within me changed, and I resigned to this forced transformation. I wanted the clock to stop ticking. I wanted to stay innocent forever and not ever become mature. But this was not to be true. From what I knew of puberty, it was full of awkward conversations with your parents and sitting in uncomfortable sex ed classes. I would have rather learned these kinds of things by myself in the recesses of the internet or in a rowdy conversations with friends, which I eventually did. If I had a time machine that would allow me to go back to my younger self, without destroying the time-space continuum, of course, I'd probably say vagina and tampon 100 times over to her and explain it to her that everyone goes through this, that she could open up herself and she wouldn't have to do this alone. I wish our culture was more open about these kinds of things so that teenagers going through puberty wouldn't feel so awkward. They would celebrate and embrace it. We should universally have legitimate sex ed classes where guys and girls learn about each other's body parts, where people won't be guilted into taking abstinence promises, where safe sex is taught and students learn about condoms, STDs, and birth control. I wish our culture wouldn't ignore periods just for propriety's sakes. I remember Instagram removing photos of girls with period stains. I wish that would change, so that a period stain isn't a break of social etiquette. It'd be treated like a ketchup stain. Back in the 6th grade, you know, that awkward puberty phase where you feel that no one understands you, I created an alter ego when I realized that my name spelled backwards was Matt. It was really more of giving a name to my conscience. I instilled with him the characteristics that I considered to be part of the mask I put on when I'm forced to face the world and be mature when all I am is stressed, sad, or tired. On my end, I consider myself a heterosexual girl who is artistic, creative, loud, free-spirited, careless, and irrational. On Matt's end, he's an asexual guy who's scientific, objective, quiet, and cool, critical, meticulous, and simply logical. He's my defense mechanism. When I don't feel like dealing with the world, he'll take over. It's sort of like multi-personality disorder, but I'm aware of it, and I initiate the switch. He's my Jiminy Cricket. He chastises me when I do something wrong, and he encourages me when I have a spark. He's a reflection of me, of who I am inside. I used to think of feminists as women who hated men and wanted to tear society down, because that's how it was portrayed in the media, and I didn't want to be associated with such a term. But when I came onto Tumblr, I learned the true definition of feminism. I learned how unequal women were in the world and the endless and terrible crimes committed against them. I learned that women were paid 77 cents for every dollar a man made. I learned that they couldn't even decide what to do with their own bodies, and that many more men hold positions of power than women do. In a country that boasts its progressiveness, women have only had the right to vote for 100 years. And in other countries, young girls are still being forced to become child brides and participate in the sex trade. One of the most powerful and wonderful abilities of women, the power to create life, was looked upon as a burden and a weakening aspect of our gender. I finally understood how toxic the patriarchy was. But now that I realize the ways the society has been pushing women down, I joined the fight. Tumblr also taught me about the LGBT plus community, that there is an entire spectrum of genders and sexualities out there. We shouldn't confine ourselves to binaries. We shouldn't treat the rest of the spectrum as outcasts or treat them as the butt of our jokes. I now learn to accept their existence and understand their struggles are to be known and that their successes should be celebrated. And I hope society will someday understand too. It brings a lot more love into the world if people do not alienate entire identities, so people can love freely, and so people won't feel broken. Thanks for watching!